is Renee from Meadowlark Mystic, and I am doing drawer number 4 for my tarot and oracle deck collection video. So let's get into it. This is I think this is the first edition of the Messenger Oracle. And this has been reprinted, I think. This is the shiny cardstock, and it's trimmed. I'm having trouble talking. It's trimmed, which I love. Oh, and because I trimmed it, it has no keywords. And that's just fine with me. That is the Messenger Oracle by Raven Falon. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that. Then we have Queen of the Moon Oracle. This is pretty shiny, kind of sticky cardstock, but I think this is a really good oracle. I just use it as a regular oracle. I don't pull based on the moon, but I do, once I shuffle it and pull a card, I do take note of, what the moon is doing on the card, if it's full or whatever. So it is a great deck. Those are the backs. All right. The next one is new to my collection. It's a Compendium of Witches Oracle, and it's very beautiful. It's kind of luxe. It's in like a nice box. The book is thick, but it's because it's in 4 languages. It's a beautiful deck. It's broken into like objects that a witch might have or use, or ideas. Which are these. Cardstock is great, and then it goes into the actual witches themselves. And they are an amalgamation of different traditions, as well as different parts of the world, as well as different time periods. There is one definitely identifiable goddess, Hecate, in here. And then the rest are, like I said, more an amalgamation of traditions. There's Hecate. Yeah, it's a very interesting and beautiful deck. I like it a lot. I haven't worked with it that much, but the work I did do actually centered around Hecate, which was new, a new thing. The next deck is the Mystical Healing Reading Cards. It's kind of a mouthful. The box is not the greatest, but I do keep it in here. I really like this deck a lot. It gives pretty deep readings, pretty intense as well. I love reading it with, I guess it has some landscape cards. I love reading this deck with the Mystical Tarot, the tarot deck that I had kind of a problem bonding with. They work really well together. So I wanted to talk a little bit while I'm flipping through these. One of the reasons that I stopped purchasing at the pace that I was before is because I found that after I get to a certain level, a number of decks, I just can't get to them. Like, there's just too many at a certain point. And you might find that your threshold is, oh, sorry. This is the Angelarium Oracle of Emanations. This is a really intense deck about looking at angels from a more, I think probably Kabbalah, viewpoint from it, you know, the names and the knowledge path. There's more than just the, you know, the 10 on the path Kabbalah, but really deep and more in keeping with how I actually view angel energy. I'm not opposed to the wings and all that, but I think that that's much more than that. So what was I saying? Oh, right. So I have a lot of really beautiful decks, and yet, this is the next one, Devas of Creation, working with energies of the universe, Silicon. And yet there's more. There's always more. There's always more, because there's a bunch of decks right now that I think are really beautiful, and I think, maybe I'll get those. But then I feel kind of like, well, I'd have to get rid of these. Not get rid of them, but I only have so many hours in the day, and I only have so much time to spend studying a deck. And so for me personally, that's why my collection is kind of stalled, is because the decks that I have, like this, for example, and the Angelorium that I just showed, are so deep. You could spend a long time with just these decks. And so I just got to the stage where I just needed to slow my roll down and, you know, bond with the stuff that I have. So I just want to say that. But everybody's different. So this is the, you know what, I'm not going to show it to you. Anyway, a different deck is in this box, which is a little confusing. It's the Gorgons Tarot. Here are the backs. It's a round deck. I trimmed this deck, which I don't know if that was a good idea or not, but I did it. So it's done. I can't undo it. This is a really awesome, fun deck that I did add a tiny bit of color to it, but only on a very few cards. So yes, the Gorgons Tarot. It is a shiffer deck, so it's got that super sticky shiffer cardstock. Okay. This is an independent deck with my own handmade label, Tarot Dow Oracle. And I don't know if this creator is still on Instagram or not. I'm totally spacing out on their name, so I'm not going to say it, but you can Google it. This is a Marseille redraw, total redraw. It's so amazing. This deck is just so beautiful. You get it on Make Playing Cards, I think. And I just, wow, really love it. Love it. These are the backs, which don't go at all with the deck, but I think I saw that they did a reprint with different backs, but then I never followed it because I had this one. Okay, the next deck, I have a few Lenormand in my collection, and this was one of the first ones I got. I got it not because I wanted to read Lenormand very much, but because I just love the artwork. Will Worthington, this is the Druidcraft and the Wildwood artist, and I just love it. I love it so much. I love his art, so I just had to have it because of that. I'm also thinking, I just said I shouldn't get any more decks, but I'm also thinking about getting the Dreaming Way Lenormand because I love the art so much. But you know, Lenormands are tiny. They'll slip in anywhere, right? So that is the Celtic Lenormand. La 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 la. Okay, then we have the first edition of the Marshmallow Tarot. This was reprinted with fancy cardstock, and mine is not. Mine is just regular old cardstock, and no glitz, no glamour. And I was going to actually sell this or donate it or whatever, but I couldn't. Oh, and that's also what I have found, that, and I said this in the very beginning, the very first video, that these decks have become like friends, like book friends, except they're like book art friends. I almost said another word. And I just can't seem to get rid of them. I think the last deck I actually got rid of was the Golden Tarot by Cat Black. I've got Pixies, Astounding Lenormand, and I don't miss that deck. And that's pretty rare. I do find that if I get rid of a deck, which I haven't gotten rid of in a while, I miss it. And then I usually like buy it again. I just like seeing Pixie's art in a different, just more of it, you know, because you kind of feel like, you know, it's just stuck wherever she left off because, you know, she's dead. This is the Goddess Runes. Oh no, not the Goddess Runes. The Woman Runes by Bridget's Grove. And it has a lot of cards in the beginning that give you like layouts to do. So for a little deck, it really packs a punch. I really like this deck. The Women Runes. I saw this on Jessica the Story Witch, but she's not known by that anymore. Jessica and the Moon? Shoot, I forgot. I'm sorry, Jessica. I'm sorry, I forgot. Okay, the next one is this deck. And it is the Spirit Messages Daily Guidance Oracle deck, but I have trimmed it and also removed some cards because I found there was like redundancy in the deck. So this is as many cards as, that are left, and I removed all the text at the bottom because I just wanted the keywords. Having said all that, this poor deck, I really like this deck. It's powerful, and I really, really appreciate the art. And I've had it for quite a while now, so it's pretty heavy. It's pretty deep. It's pretty heavy because when I look at it, I think about readings that I've done. The next one is the Karma Angels. I like this deck because of its old world. I don't even know what the name of this art style is. Byzantine / Russian. I'm not really sure. You know, Christian icon art. These are angels again, like the Angelorium. But in kind of, you know, a different capacity, obviously, a different kind of take on them. But I like it, and also it is a strong deck. Not for the faint of heart, which I appreciate. Yeah, I don't know that angel decks should always be so sweet and light. So this one is not sweet and light. What's interesting about this deck is it's actually written by, where is it? Oh man, they don't have it on the outside. Ugh. Cats. It's the, now that I've talked about it, I have to find it. I was surprised that it's written by Marcus Katz and Tally Goodwin. They're very well-respected tarot teachers, I think, in the UK. Another angel deck is the Angel Answers Oracle cards. This deck is also, like, you think it's all touchy, feely, sweet, you know, It's not. At least not for me. It could be that I just bring that to the table, you know. But, you know, sometimes the card is like, no. There's something better. Stop. So, you know, that's cool. And the art is like, woo, very, very pinky purple, which sometimes is just what you need. And it's gilded and it's shiny. Yes, it has Doreen Virtue's name on it, so it's older. And I'll just leave it at that. This deck is another one, the Soul's Journey lesson cards. I saw this on Champion of Coins channel back, wow, a while ago, several years now. And she's a reader that I really respect. The decks that she feels work really well. They seem to work for me as well. And so I got this deck based on that, and yes. I used to do my year aheads with this deck, actually. And I really like it. It's very, very true. It's very true. It's a true deck. This is a bigger drawer, so I'm trying to go a little bit faster. I'm putting some back. La, la, la. I watched one of my older videos. It's kind of cringy watching your old stuff. This one is one of my favorites. It's Psychic Tarot for the Heart. I have the other one as well, which you will see. When I got this deck, it came to me damaged. The cards had stuck together, so I had to trim it. And some of the keywords at the bottom kind of got a tiny bit, you know, I got really close. This deck does not have the 10s and it does not have the court. And yet, it's one of those decks like the Witch's Tarot that when I saw it, I was like, oh. And it so grew on me. Like, this is one of my favorite cards. And it has my all-time favorite Tower card. I don't know if we're going to bump into it, but I really love this deck now. And I love the other one as well. It's a great, great reader for me. So, you know, just because you don't like a deck, don't necessarily write it off. I mean, I'm not encouraging you to, there's my favorite Tower card. I'm not encouraging you to buy decks that you don't like, obviously, but tastes change and you may change as well. The next one is the Good Tarot. And this deck is, it's a really good reader. I like the court cards. And, you know, I'm not a huge fan of the majors in this deck, but I love the minors. So, you know, you win some, you lose some. And I like the courts. It's collage-y and digital arty, and yeah, I like it. The Good Tarot. I do not like the fact that the Lovers and the Strength card look the same, but you know, whatever. All right, and we're back to John Holland, and I can't get it out. It's this deck. This was the first one, the Psychic Tarot, and the Psychic Tarot for the Heart was his, I think he did it 10 years later, and they have a very different feel. This deck is not trimmed, but I also find it a really good reader. And I kind of knew that. I felt like because his Psychic Tarot for the Heart was good, that this one, which is the first edition, would be good. I mean, the first deck he put out would be good as well, and I was right. You know, it really depends on you and how you read, and, you know, because this art style is not my aesthetic. But I love this deck. so kind of what you like in terms of art and what you like in terms of reading tarot don't always go together. Just keep that in mind as your practice and your collection, if you have one, gets bigger. This was the deck I was trying to remember. It is the Farbender Angle, and it's all in German. Oh, Aurasoma. Yes, I remembered. These are the bottles. These are the shaken bottles of the like 110 or 115 Aurasoma Tarot bottles. This is the chunkiest, monkiest deck I have because it's 110 cards. I recently did a reading for a friend for a year ahead, and I used this deck, and it was so good because the cards, not only is it the Aurasoma, you know, like the color therapy, but it's the actual, you know, energetic masters and angels and all that, and it really, really helped flesh out the reading. So yes, this deck is really good, but it is a bear to shuffle. Bears and monkeys, oh my. Okay, so that is the Farbender Angle. Gosh, it's so it's so fat. And it, okay, so the journey to get this deck, it's from Germany, and you can download, or you could when I got it, you can download the guidebook in English. So it kind of, it takes a while to get it, but it's worth it. So that's what I'm saying about that. The next one is the Lioness Oracle Tarot. And you know, she has an oracle deck, and I never knew that her oracle deck, I thought it was just an oracle. I never knew that it's based on astrology. So I felt really dumb that I didn't know that. But I love this deck. I use this deck for inner child work. Not inner child shadow work, which is what I use the chrysalis for. But more, I guess it's more like inner child teenager. You know, like when you're transitioning from one to the other. And I thought when I first saw this deck that it was kind of a mess. Like, how would you even read with this? This is one of those examples of when you put the cards down in a reading, everything makes sense. But when you just flip through it, you're, you know, not always, but kind of like, oh, what is happening? This is my favorite gilding ever. It's like, oh, so smooth. I think actually it has my favorite cardstock ever. It's even better than the Majestic Earth. So that is the Lioness Oracle Tarot. Next up, we have a deck, Tarot of the Curious Creatures. I think, I think Candy was the one that made me buy this. And I love this deck. This deck, it has a similar way of making me laugh like the Magical Forest, but it makes me, it actually has energy similar to the Halloween Tarot. So it makes me laugh. It's very cheeky. It gives me hard truths sometimes, but in a way that's totally manageable. Even more so than the Halloween, because sometimes the Halloween can sting a little bit. But this one, I've never really experienced it stinging, although it does impart stuff with humor. So love this deck, and I'm probably gonna break down and get the Muse Tarot at some point. The next deck is an out-of-print deck. It's in a box that it doesn't belong in, and that's the Tarot de Paris. This deck is very old school. I think it was like in the 80s, early 90s. It is, I got it used, so it smells like incense, which now I totally associate with this deck. It's pictures of statues taken in Paris. That's why it's called Tarot de Paris. The the cards are large and they are not very laminated at all. So I'm always a little scared using this deck because it does not have very much protection. Some of the cards have been renamed. Pentacles are matter, but like this is, so in this deck, the 8 is justice, which would be equilibrium. I love this deck. This deck is such a great reader. I always use this deck. The Lovers is renamed Harmony. I always use this deck for my winter solstice reading. I'm not really sure why, but I just do. I think this is the Fool. Now I'm wondering. The guidebook to this deck is so good because it's a numerology based. So yes, yes, yes. It's not really, you know, he does kind of a weird hybrid of Rider-Waite and numerology, but overall it's more numerology and I love it. Love it, love it, love it. It's like color coded and yeah, it's a great deck. Tarot de Paris. Or Tarot de Paris. All right. I don't have very many astrology. I have the Queen of the Moon Oracle, and then I have this one, which is the Black Moon Astrology cards. And I really like this deck. I can't remember if I finished my thought when I was talking about just decks, but the video that I rewatched, it's because somebody commented on it and brought it to my attention, was a video that I made a while ago, over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago now, on deck overwhelm and people, why they come to YouTube and what you do on YouTube. And it got me thinking about my own collection and art. I've kind of gotten to the point where a lot of what I buy is because I love the art with tarot, because I've kind of dovetailed art into tarot. Feel free to mute me and just look at the flip throughs if you don't want to hear me ramble, but yeah, it's more than just tarot now. It's art, and I created my own deck, so it's got that energy too. I think, actually, did I even tell you what this was? I'm sorry. This is the Japarizzi Tarot. This, I think, is the deck that opened my eyes to how deeply I could immerse myself in the art. So the Fountain Tarot was the first kind of, I don't know, I'd call it like fine art tarot deck, and then this deck just blew my mind when I saw it. I was able to read tarot well enough that I could, you know, read this, even though it's not like straight up Rider-Waite, but oh, Rider-Waite Smith, I love this deck so much. And yet it has my least favorite, it has some of my most favorite, it has my least favorite Emperor card. No, it has, it has 2 cards which I really don't like. It has my least favorite, I'm just going to do this while I'm talking to you, my least favorite Moon card. Oh man. And also the Emperor card is my birth card, and the Emperor card in this deck is War. But having said all that, I still love this deck. It's one of my favorites. It's an amazing, amazing reader, and it's full of lovely art. That's the Japarizzi Tarot. Okay, the next one is the Dow Oracle. And this one, I keep it in order. So how am I going to do this? I keep it in order because I throw coins to decide which card to pull, which is good because this card stock, although it's nice, it does not shuffle well. I love this deck for the I Ching. I have a personal connection to Chinese culture, and so a lot of the ideas here resonate with me and my history. Like my lived experience, I guess, not my personal family history. Wow, I'm talking myself into a corner. Okay, yes. I Ching, very powerful, very beautiful deck. So what I do is I throw the coins. The pennies are the top and nickels are the bottom. And then you look up. Let's see, for me, heads are a full line and tails are broken line. So yay! All right, the next ones are decks that are in the wrong boxes. So I'm not going to show you the box. This is the Universal Mind Oracle. This is out of print. This is the backs. And this was, when I first came onto this tarot scene, it was very popular, this deck. I always thought this one was funny. Anyway, yeah, I don't use this deck. I don't find this deck very deep, although, I don't know, maybe it would be now. I don't know, I might trade it since it's really out of print, but I also trimmed it, so who knows. You can contact me if you're interested in the Universal Mind Oracle. Okay, the next one is another Ted Andrews deck. It's the Feathered Omens. And I don't know. I think this is out of print. I'm not really sure. No, actually, I don't think this one is. And I'm a birder. I watch birds. I like birds. I have a bird feeder. I will go out of my way to see a bird. I will stop the car to look at a bird. So this deck was kind of a no-brainer. This is a very weird picture, but like I said, these are his photographs, I think, that he took, and so they're not always great. Sometimes they're dark and grainy or stretched out, but I love his art. I love his art. I mean, I love his decks, and I live in a place that has wrens now, so yay. Yes, 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 yes. Feathered Omens. I sound a little hyped up, like I had a lot of caffeine, but I didn't. I think I was just like, I gotta get through this. Which is kind of sad because I'm having trouble uploading my videos. For some reason, YouTube does not like them. These are the inquiry cards. This is a deck based on questions. And it's kind of kaleidoscope. And it really helps with readings to kind of encapsulate them. And I got the extender pack, so it's pretty big. I find questions really helpful when you're doing readings for people. So that is the inquiry cards. And we are almost done with this one, These are the cards that I referenced in my very first video, the Spirit of the Animal Oracle. And they're big cards. I like this deck a lot. They've got some mystical creatures and then kind of, there's obviously two creatures on this one. Yeah, beautiful deck, beautiful art, a lot of good wisdom here. That is the Spirit of the Animals. And then, let's see, I think I had some that I wanted to also put on here. Now I can't see where they are. Oh yes, I wanted to do these two. These two decks. One was a gift from my sister, which is this one, and it is The Path of the Divine Feminine by Kate Shaw. The Path of the Divine Feminine by Kate Shaw. Since there isn't a screenshot of it, I will put it at the bottom. And this is on Etsy. This deck is good if, when you look at these cards, if you resonate with these body shapes, then this deck can help you feel more kind of seen and understood and empowered. If these body shapes connect to you, to your experience of your own body. And then the next one is, it used to be called Tuatha Danaan, and then I think she renamed it Holy Grail Linen Tarot. You get it on Make Playing Cards. And I will actually put that title on the bottom too, because I don't think there's a title card with this. This is really beautiful art, but I must say that I don't know if you can tell, but it didn't come out very clear in the printing. You can get a separate guidebook on Amazon, and I think in order to really understand the story in these cards, you would need that guidebook. And I think that Kasha from Tarot Map has done an interview, with the woman who created this deck. If not an interview, she's definitely talked about this deck a lot. Okay, and the last deck that I wanted to show what was the last deck I wanted to show? Shoot, where did it go? I guess I'll do this one. It is the Victorian, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. It's the Victorian Fairy Tarot. I keep it in a box that's not the box you get it in. I apologize. This, as far as I remember, is out of print. The Victorian Fairy Tarot, here are the backs. They are non-reversible, obviously. Oh, this deck. It is not, it is not a hug deck at all for me. It's more like, it's got similar energy to the Chrysalis in terms of kind of intensity, but it is a really good reader, and it doesn't like confuse you or lead you astray. Like, you don't need to, I don't know, sometimes it feels like you have to like train the deck to talk to you in a way that makes sense, or, you know, not give you such attitude. I didn't have to do that with this deck, but I did have to prepare myself whenever I would use it. But I love the art, I love the animal energy, and it's just a really beautiful deck. Okay, so that is video number 4 for my tarot and oracle collection. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.